College Football 26 is adding two brand new teams to the roster. And if you're looking for a fresh Dynasty challenge or sleeper squad and road to glory, you'll want to know about Delaware and Missouri State. In this video, we're breaking down their history, coaching staff, key players, and what to expect when taking the field with these newcomers. Drop a like if you're excited for the new teams in the game, and let me know in the comments which one you'll be rebuilding first. Let's start with the University of Delaware Fighting Blue Hens. Delaware is moving up from the FCS Coastal Athletic Association Football Conference to the bright lights of Conference USA. If Delaware rings a bell in your head, it's probably because of one of their most famous football alums, Joe Flacco. Turning back the clock a bit more, we have Rich Gannon. It's pretty impressive that the Blue Hens have developed a Super Bowl MVP winning quarterback and an NFL MVP, which is a lot more than you can say about many prestigious programs. Delaware has been a mainstay in the FCS ranks for a while now, with a total of 6 national championships at the lower levels of college football. To track their most recent title, you have to turn back the clock to 2003, which is unfortunately still more recent than my alma mater by about 64 years. Since college football is all about traditions, I figured I would quickly mention a couple here, including the opportunity for fans to ring the bell every score, which is evidently an experience you can purchase for a quarter, and they even have a note that says they can't guarantee points will be scored in your quarter, which is objectively hilarious. Evidently, according to the athletic department website, they also bring live blue hens to their athletic events, called the Brigade. While I don't expect this to be in the game, we may get UD, the school mascot. Transitioning back to football, Delaware has seen recent success under coach Ryan Carty, a former quarterback for the Blue Hens and a part of their 2003 national championship team. Carty was an offensive coordinator before transitioning to head coach, and his teams have reflected that, finishing top 25 nationally in many offensive categories during his tenure. Carty, along with offensive coordinator Terrence Archer and defensive coordinator Manny Rojas, are confirmed to be in the game. Carty has led the Blue Hens to 2 straight playoff appearances and likely would have been a third last year, but because it was their final season of FCS play, they were ineligible to participate. In 2024, the team finished ranked 11th in the country in total offense and 12th in scoring offense. They also weren't bad on the defensive side of the ball, finishing the year ranked 21st in total defense. But let's break down this year's squad, starting with the offense. The Blue Hens lost a significant amount of their production from last year, but look to retool on that side of the ball. Quarterback has been a carousel of injuries. Ryan O'Connor started the year, but then suffered a season-ending injury and announced that instead of medically redshirting, he would step away from the team. They then turned to Zach Marker, who threw for just over 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions, who also played through injury until getting sidelined. Finally, Nick Minicucci played the final 4 games of the year, throwing for 825 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. If you combine the stats of the 2024 QB room, you end up with an impressive 2,700 yards, 29 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. Their unofficial depth chart, shout out to GoHens.net, has Marker set to start. And if EA rates him based off of his 2024 performance, it should be a good sign for the Blue Hens. At running back, Delaware is looking to replace one of their best players in Marcus Yarns. And the bulk of the carries should go to senior Jonathan Silver, who rushed for 462 yards and 4 touchdowns last year with an impressive 6.6 yards per carry. Junior Saeed St. Fleur should also see snaps if you run Silver into the ground. I actually got excited about mentioning Kevion Mason, a speedy true freshman who Delaware made a college football themed signing day post about, then realized he actually reopened his commitment and went to Temple. They did grab a Tulsa transfer, Vyron Ellison Jr., who has 92 speed and 96 acceleration in CFB 25. Receiver is a bit of a mystery. Rutgers transfer Max Patterson is their most experienced returning receiver, but we all know that speed is keen in college football video games, and former Cincinnati transfer Jojo Bermudez, despite not having much production and having an injury-prone tenure so far at Delaware, reportedly has 4.4 speed. So let's keep that in mind when the ratings come out. The offensive line will probably be a project to rebuild as well, although they do return all CAA honorable mention tackle Anwar O'Neal, who will likely be the highest rated of the group. On the defensive side of the ball, Delaware returns 17 of their 22 players that registered double-digit tackles. Along the line, their star defensive end Melkart Abu Jaoud transferred to UNC, so they will look to rebuild around Keyshawn Hunter, who, and this seems to be a bit of a theme for them, missed half of last year. Delaware returns their two top tacklers from last season and linebackers Gavin Moole and Dylan Traynor, who should be two of the highest rated players on the defense. The secondary will be led by KTC, who may be one of the best safeties in the conference. When you look at their non-con schedule, Delaware drew a tough early season matchup at Colorado and a late season matchup at Wake Forest, as well as home games against Delaware State and UConn. Beating Dion and company could put you on the trajectory for early success, or playing in Boulder could be a friendly reminder that you have a long rebuild in store. Regardless, Delaware looks like a fun challenge to try to take to the next level. The second new team in the game is the Missouri State Bears, who make the move from the Missouri Valley Football Conference to join Delaware and Conference USA. While there will be an expected step up in talent, the Missouri Valley does have some FCS powerhouses like North Dakota State and South Dakota State. Missouri State doesn't have a storied history in the league. They did finish ranked in 2020 and 2021 after a 20-plus year hiatus from the rankings, and finished the 2024 season at 8-4, ranked number 21, but similar to Delaware, were ineligible for the playoff. When it comes to traditions, the Bears shoot a cannon after touchdowns and opening kickoff, and sport Boomer as their mascot. Maybe we'll be doing backflips with Boomer in mascot mode if that ever gets brought back in the college football franchise. Missouri State is led by head coach Ryan Beard, who took over for Bobby Petrino in 2023. Interestingly, this is a family affair. Under Petrino in 2022, Beard was the defensive coordinator, and Petrino's son Nick was the OC. Beard also happens to be married to Bobby Petrino's daughter. Now Beard is the head coach and has retained Nick at OC. At the end of the day, it's all about who you know, right? And yes, Beard, Petrino, and defensive coordinator LD Scott, who happens to be married to the other Petrino daughter, are in the game. So if you want a job at Missouri State, buy a ring and hit up Bobby. But he only has one son left, so good luck. Jokes aside, as a defensive coordinator, Beard helped Missouri State break multiple defensive school records, so he does have some accolades that warrant his position. In addition to this, last year the team had a great offensive showing, finishing 5th in passing yards per game, 17th in total yards per game, and 13th in points per game. The question is, how will the team look in 2025? Let's start with the offensive side of the ball. Missouri State will be led by veteran quarterback Jacob Clark, who was a semifinalist for the Walter Payton Award and finalist for the Missouri Valley Offensive Player of the Year, throwing for over 3,500 yards and 26 touchdowns last season. At 6'5", he should have no problems when it comes to vision and passing windows, which have been mentioned as a potential feature in CFB 26. Unfortunately, the Bears will be losing 98% of their rushing yard production from last year, so it will be a huge question mark in 2025. They have FIU transfer Shamari Lawrence, who will be playing his 6th season of college football on one end of the spectrum, and incoming freshman Keen Davis, currently projected as a 1-2 punch to start the year. Tight end Lance Mason was one of the best pass catchers at his position in all of FCS last season, but he's headed to Wisconsin in the portal, another brutal loss for the team, and an occurrence that we can probably expect more often with the changes that EA is making to the transfer portal this year. Speaking of losing pass catchers, 3 other top receivers have either graduated or transferred. They were able to keep Jamarie Robinson, who entered the portal but came back, and will likely be the primary offensive weapon after back-to-back 500-plus yard seasons. You can also expect James Blackstrain to be a key contributor if you roll with the Bears in CFB 26. They do have a potential gem in Nebraska transfer Isaiah McMorris, who in College Football 25 had 94 speed, 94 acceleration, and 94 agility, which could be a godsend for users. The offensive line, well, let's just leave it at this. Ranked 106th in pass blocking and 79th in run blocking at the FCS level. Good luck. Unfortunately, last year's defense didn't fare very well either, and they lost 2 of their linebackers, 2 of their best defensive linemen, and 3 key starters in the secondary. They did do some work in the portal, adding former 4-star recruit and edge rusher DJ Westlake out of Oregon State, and defensive back McGuire Neal from Charlotte, who finished the year at 75 overall. but expect this to be a challenging rebuild, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Also, Missouri State hasn't won a game against an FBS opponent since 1990, so something is going to need to change and quickly. And it doesn't bode well in year one, with the Bears being favorites in just 2 games. It also doesn't help that 2 of their first 3 games are against USC and SMU. Missouri State will be looking at a not so warm welcome to FBS football, and if you go into the Coliseum and beat the Trojans game 1, it may be time to raise the difficulty up a bit. Another note that I realized while researching for this video, since they're new to FBS, neither Delaware or Missouri State is eligible for a Conference USA title game or a bowl game, with the caveat that if they win 6 or more games and there aren't enough bowl eligible teams elsewhere, they'll get selected, which is an interesting wrinkle that I'm sure College Football 26 won't incorporate because honestly that would just be annoying. But I do expect many players to select one of these newcomers to rebuild into future title contenders. So there you have it, the Delaware Blue Hens and the Missouri State Bears, 2 brand new faces in the FBS and soon to be options in College Football 26. Whether you want to recruit the next Joe Flacco at Delaware, or you're looking to take on the challenge of rebuilding Missouri State's roster, both teams offer a fresh and unique dynasty path. Let me know in the comments which of these teams you're rolling with first, or if you're taking them both for a test drive when the game drops. If you enjoyed this breakdown, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe for more College Football 26 deep dives, team guides, and gameplay breakdowns as we get closer to launch. I greatly appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a great day and see y'all at the next one.